The authorities say it is the hand of the LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. If you look at the sequence of events, could this have been prevented? Easily. Who's responsible? Number one, those politicians who had planned the burning of the coach in the Sabarmati Express at Godhra. They are responsible. Number two, the people at the center government. They could have stopped it, but they belong to the same party. They don't know anything. Number three, the innocent citizens of Gujarat. They were instigated against the Muslims, and they fell in the trap. They too are responsible. Number four, the police of Gujarat could have easily prevented. They didn't do it. They are responsible. And we know from records that most of the places, it was done under the supervision of the police. If you see the commission report, they too are responsible. Number five, the judiciary system of Gujarat. They didn't take action. Number six, the people who retaliated in the wrong way. The people who did the bomb blast, Islam does not justify that. They too are equally responsible. All six categories of people are responsible. But if we can prevent the first category, the first few categories, surely you will not have these terrorist attacks. And we know that in the past 1 month, thousands of Muslims have been harassed, mainly by the police. The police says it is mainly the Muslims who have done it. It is the hand of the LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. I say, if you can really identify them, catch the people who are involved, we have no objection. But you can't harass thousands of innocent Muslims. Hundreds of them were rounded up. Hundreds of Muslims, they were detained for days and weeks together. As Justice Suraj said, that hundreds of them, they had been rounded up. Even their family was not informed. Imagine. And the thousands of innocent family members, they too have been harassed. We know about 22 to 25 so far have been officially arrested. All of them, 100%. None of them, not a single arrested case is directly linked with the train bomb blast of Bombay. All of them indirectly related to some other event. If you really catch the culprit, if you have proof, we have no objection. But at random picking up the Muslims, what signals are you sending? We know that about more than 300 innocent people were rounded up in Malwani. More than 300. For what? For interrogation. Any logical person will tell you that for interrogation, minimum, you at least require 3 or 4 policemen. If you want to do a proper interrogation, 1 policeman to threaten, 1 to have a soft approach, 1 to note down, maybe 1 to observe. At least 3, if not 4, minimum 3, for a proper interrogation. It takes minimum 1 or 2 hours. People, experts say 4 or 5 hours. I say minimum at least 1 or 2 hours. How many interrogation can you do? What is the manpower of the Malwani police station? What is the manpower? How many can they do in a day? 10, 20, 30, 40? How many? How many? What is the manpower? What is the force? Maximum 100 if you let it go. They round up more than 300 people, keep them waiting for the full day, then they take the telephone number and address and leave them. What signals are you sending? It is my request that the police should take the Muslims in confidence. Recently, after the bomb blast, there was a program organized by the non-Muslim. How we have Muslims have here on terrorism. Similar, there was a program organized by the non-Muslims on similar topics. Topic was different, but the issue was the same. By the non-Muslims. And the organizers had invited 2 ex-senior police officials from Bombay. Ex. One of them comes and blames the madrasa of Pakistan, the reason for terrorist attacks here. Second one comes and blames the madrasas of India. In the speech, you tell them that they should have computers, English, no problem, I'm with you. But to say that the Indian madrasas are directly or indirectly, even remotely associated with any form of terrorism in India is nothing but a blatant lie. Unfortunately for that police officer, there was one of the senior advocates in the audience. After the talk, he went and told him that, can you even give me a single white paper, single proof that any madrasa in India has been proven to be associated with any terrorist act? He said, I don't know. Imagine what statement is the senior police officer giving to non-Muslims. What message are you sending? Hindus, in turn, will be against the madrasas. So making such irresponsible statements by senior police officers, see, I'm being careful, I'm not naming. Why? Because I'm a responsible citizen. What signals are you sending? I don't know of any madrasa in India. See, they are the center of learning. Fine, we may disagree. We may want English there. We may want modernization. I speak with the people of madrasa. I may have differences, have more education. Fine. Have English, have computers. We agree. But to say that they are involved in terrorist activities, indirectly or directly, even remotely, is nothing but a blatant lie. So what is happening? What message are you giving? We know that hundreds of innocent Muslims were detained. Many were arrested. The police goes and does a search in the house. Then they find some books on jihad. Proof. Proof that involved in terrorist attacks. The Bombay media reported that these same books are being sold in the bookstores of Mohammedli Road for several years. If that was the case, why weren't these bookstores closed down? Same books. Jihad. I would like to tell that, do you know, the Quran too speaks about jihad. And almost all, every Muslim house has the Quran. Do you mean to say that you're going to arrest all the Muslims of Bombay? What signals are you sending? I, being a student of comparative religion, I would like to say that if you read the Mahabharata, there are more verses of killing in Mahabharata than the Quran. If you have a competition, Mahabharata has more verses of killing people than compared to the Quran. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but a guidance given by Shri Krishna to Arjun. Arjun says, how can I fight against my own cousins? If you read Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 1, verse number 43, 44, 45, 46, he puts his arms on the battlefield and says, I would prefer dying unarmed rather than fight my cousins. Immediately. Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, verse number 2. Shri Krishna, he says, Arjun, how could you be an impotent? And he continues, time doesn't permit me, you can see my videotape. It says that it is a duty of the Kshatriya to fight. When we see in context, I, being a student of comparative religion, I agree with all the verses of fighting in Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata because I know the context. It's a fight between justice and injustice. It's a fight between truth and falsehood. And what Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata say, that if you have to fight against falsehood, against injustice, even if it be your cousins, no problem, family members, fight them. We are with it. That is what the Quran says. What my request is that even the police should know the religious teachings of the different citizens of India. And I always take opportunity, and in the past several years, I've spoken to several non-Muslim police officers, senior police officers in Bombay, in Bangalore, in various cities of India. I was even called a couple of years back to the National Police Academy in Hyderabad, where I addressed more than 100 IPS officers, high-ranking commissioners of police, DIG, IG, DG, the Director General of the National Academy was there. And when I spoke, they were shocked. Most of the information I gave, they were shocked. You should know what is the teaching of different religions. Imagine if I pick up these verses of the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita and quote out of context, surely we can get rights here. We have to understand different religions. And by God's grace, alhamdulillah, I have spoken to police and military internationally. In UK, in USA, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, alhamdulillah. And I love interacting, especially with the non-Muslim police, giving them the right picture of Islam. Unfortunately, they get the information of Islam from the international media. I'll come to the media in the ending. So what we should say, that we should have understanding. I've been told by several advocates, and as Justice Suresh also said, that hundreds of Muslims were picked up. They were detained. Some of them mentally tortured, some of them physically tortured. The advocates told me that the clients, as Justice Suresh said, that they were tortured. Some of them were even made to sign on papers which didn't agree, even on blank papers. If you know who the culprits are, select a few, catch them. If proven, if they have done it, they should be punished. We aren't against it. But to catch thousands of innocent Muslims, what signals are you sending? Imagine to catch 10 terrorists, you interrogate and harass 1,000 innocent Muslims, irrespective whether you catch those 10 terrorists or not, surely you are making 100 new terrorists. Many non-Muslim senior police officers in different parts, in different cities of India, and one particular in Bombay, he told me, Zakir bhai, Dr. Zakir Naik, I will only be happy if you give talk in Hindi and Urdu. Your talk should be heard by the masses. I didn't speak. Recently, a couple of years back, I started speaking. Many senior non-Muslim police officers in different parts of India, they tell me, they know that by God's grace, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people come for my talks. And when I went to Kashmir, because I was the official guest, I met the minister, power minister, chief minister, but at that time, the governor of Kashmir, Saxena, he wanted to meet me. My schedule was tight. Non-Muslim, I took out time. He wanted lunch, dinner, no time, I went for breakfast. Saxena, the governor of Kashmir, he happened to be an ex-military man. I forgot his post, some colonel or major or high post he was. And we discussed. He was caring for the people of Kashmir. Later on, he comes to Maharashtra, he comes to Bombay. He wants to meet me. He calls me to the Raj Bhavan, the governor's house. I go and meet there. He tells Dr. Zakir Naik, you know, the impact that you had in Kashmir, the people that follow you, we want you to come again. We want you to come on the television of Kashmir. We want to come on the radio. But what my question is, that do you think my talk will be effective? I know that there is not a single verse in the Quran which justifies the killing of innocent human beings. There is not a single saying, a hadith of the Prophet, that you can kill innocent human being, even if they belong to the same community that does an injustice to you. I know that. I can speak. But imagine if thousands of innocent Muslims are being harassed. The police, they tell us that most probably it's a hand of the LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. For sake of argument, I agree with it. And the police tells us that the local hand should be involved, otherwise the bomb blast can't take place. I agree with it. Imagine the Lashkar-e-Toiba, if they're involved, if you interrogate 1,000 innocent human beings, they'll get ready-made recruits. Ready-made. You torture them, ready-made recruits. Isn't the police helping the Lashkar-e-Toiba? I'm sorry, please don't get me wrong. I don't want them to misunderstand me, otherwise they'll come to arrest me also. What signals are you sending? Imagine if I agree with you that your theory is correct, that Lashkar-e-Toiba is involved and they want local hands. You should get the Muslims in confidence. You can't round up 1,000 innocent Muslims. We know, we understand that getting the culprits is very difficult, especially because the bomb blast was done with precision, with accuracy. It was a mastermind, according to the police. We know it is difficult. We understand your case. But that doesn't mean, in the name of interrogation, you pick up a few innocent people, we can understand. But thousands, what message are you sending? Do you think my lecture will be effective? Maybe I will be able to convince 2, 3%, 5%, not more than that. So we have to solve the problem. What is the root problem? And the police should get the confidence of the citizens. If that is not there, how will they be able to stop terrorism? And if you want respect, you should give respect. There were good policemen also. Many of my friends who are advocates and lawyers, they told me that there were good policemen who helped the people when they were harassed. Some of the policemen had a very good heart. They helped them, they supported them. But generally, oh, you have a beard. Why do you have a beard? Oh, you have trousers above the ankle. Why do you keep it? Wearing a cap, as though it is mentioned in the rule book. A terrorist should have a beard, should have trousers above the ankle and a cap. Then I would be number one terrorist. Even I have my trousers above the ankle, I'm wearing a cap and I have a beard. What signals are you sending? There should be a proper training, a proper understanding of the religion of Islam. That's what William, when he advised, he told the US government that you don't know Islam. George Bush doesn't know Islam at all. It was the article that came yesterday in the midday. He doesn't know. Unless you don't understand, how will we be able to solve the problem? I don't want the police to misunderstand me. When I tell the Muslims that killing innocent people is wrong, though many Muslims disagree with me, Quran condemns it. Our Prophet condemned it. Killing any innocent human being, you can't justify it. I have to speak the truth. At the same time, I even have to speak the truth to the police force. I hope they understand the situation. And according to Julio Ribeiro, he writes an article in Hindustan Times, I think it was the 9th of September. He says that more the unnecessary arrests that are made, to get a breakthrough becomes more difficult proportionately. The more unnecessary people you arrest, the chances you get at the real culprit is more difficult. On the 2nd of September 2006, there was a good gesture by the Police Commissioner of Bombay, A.N. Roy. He wrote a personal letter to a couple of hundred Muslim leaders saying that the investigation is unbiased, we aren't harassing the Muslims. I too received one of these letters. And he said that if there is any query, any questions, we can come and sit across the table. We can talk. It's a good gesture. The letter came recently, just maybe a week back. I only hope it is not a theoretical exercise of public relations. If it's practically implemented, that innocent Muslims should not be harassed. If you really want to get the confidence, you see to it that you get the confidence of the Muslims. And then only you will be really able to catch the culprits. And if you get the culprits, whoever they are, surely they have to be punished. We know the authorities, they tell us that why majority Muslims have been picked up. The argument given was that when we analyze that in Punjab terrorism, majority people arrested, they were Sikh. In Ulfa, in Assam, majority were Hindus. In Tamil Nadu LTT, they were Hindus. So, but natural in Bombay, because we think it's linked with Pakistan, Kashmir, it would be Muslims. I agree with you for sake of argument. If a terrorist attack is done in Punjab, the majority people living in Punjab are Sikh. So if majority Sikhs are arrested, it is logical. In Assam, majority are Hindus, so if Hindus are arrested, it is logical. In Tamil Nadu, majority people living are Hindus, so Hindus are arrested, logical. In Bombay, are the majority people living Muslims? The Muslims are in minority. So why are they being picked up in majority? If you think it's an act of Kashmir militant, if you have got records, we have got no doubt with that. But do you mean to say the LTT can't come to Bombay? Do you mean to say Ulfa can't come to Bombay? Do you mean to say 6 terrorists can't come to Bombay? You cannot say 100% this act have been Muslim. You can say high possibilities, and if you show proof, we are with you. What we are trying to tell you, that identify the people who are responsible, catch them and punish them. But not thousands of people, innocent Muslims being rounded up. We know there are several records. Just a couple of months back, according to the ATS of Maharashtra, 16 members were arrested from a hardcore Hindu organization. They were involved in 3 bomb blasts in mosques. Mahmadi Mosque in Parbani, one of the mosques in Jalna, one in Pune, 3. And recently on 6th of April, in one place, by mistake, a bomb detonates, by mistake. While they were making a bomb, it exploded. It killed 4 people and 11 were injured. When inquiries were made, many people belonged to the same hardcore Hindu organization. And they found there that the plan was that to attack the mosque in the guise of Sikh. This took place in Nanded. Sikh, why? Because there was a rift going on between the Muslims and Sikh. A Sikh girl married a Muslim boy, so there was tension, so they wanted to take advantage. So they wanted to do an act in the guise of Sikh. There are cases we know that Hindus have attacked wearing caps and beards. So you can't say 100% Muslims are involved. Maybe high possibilities, I'm not saying no. Recently, a few days back, on Friday, 8th of September, 4 bomb blasts took place in Malegaon. One outside one of the mosques, one outside a graveyard, in which 35 innocent Muslims were killed and more than 100 innocent Muslims were injured. Again, prime suspect, LET. Can be, but not prime. Imagine, it is a game plan. It's a name game. If you go to America, it's Al-Qaeda. Here it is LET. According to an article that came in the DNA on the 6th of September, a person by the name of Joseph, he writes that the foreign experts, they tell that if you involve yourself too much in the blame game, you lose focus and the main culprits are never caught. You do a proper investigation. If really they're caught, they have to be punished. Irrespective whether the terrorists are Muslims or non-Muslims, whether they belong to Kashmir, whether to Pakistan, whether Ulfa, whether LTT, if they are proved to be involved in that, they should be punished. I'm not here to support any terrorist act, not at all. But if you want to get to the bottom of it, you should know that this should be done meticulously. We should take the citizens in confidence. One of the other cause is the media. Mainly that media which is controlled by the politicians. We have to be careful of this. And this media, they can convert black to white, day to night, hero into a villain, villain into hero. And we see that very often. If you see my tapes, I've given very such examples. But in India, it's fortunate that the more popular media is not controlled by the politicians. And we find that this media really gave the true picture. Whether it be the Gujarat riots, the Bombay riots in '93, or even today, the innocent Muslims are being harassed. The media, whether it be the newspaper, the news channels, they have really given a true picture of what's happening. Not 100%. Sometimes they get involved in news which is sensational. So when they get the news without checking up, they give it. It's sensational, they give it. But as a whole, we have to agree, the media has been honest. I'm talking about non-Muslim media. I'm not talking about the Muslim media. And here we find that they were honest and they projected the real picture. But what we have to be careful is of the media which is controlled by the politicians. And as far as the judiciary system is concerned in India, the innocent citizen of India, especially the Muslim victims, we have faith in the Indian judiciary system. Though some people say that some are corrupt, they are blaspheming the community. But as a whole, we know most of the judges, they're upright and they're honest. We only hope that these people are not influenced by the politicians. So far, I know most of the judges, they don't care much for the politicians. If once the politicians get hold of the judiciary system, then God save this country. Yet, we have faith in the judiciary system. And to conclude, we have to realize that since we know that the cause of terrorism is injustice, the cause of terrorism is wrongdoing to a particular group of people, this thing should be stopped. How can we stop? As I mentioned, number one, the politicians, they should be honest, they should be just. They should not go for the vote bank and do things which are wrong. Once they're honest and they're just, irrespective they lose their seat, you see to it that terrorism will stop. Point number two, the innocent Indian citizens, they should not be instigated by the politicians and do wrong things and kill other innocent human beings. Point number three, the police, they should be upright. They should be just. If someone is being harmed, they should see to it that is protected. They should not be ploy of the politicians. I know there are times that they can be transferred, but if every policeman in India is honest, the new policeman who's transferred will also be honest. So what will the politician do? If 100% of the policemen, I'm not blaming all of them, please don't get me wrong. I know most of them honest, they want to do, but because they're under the pressure of the politicians, they're afraid that they'll be transferred, they'll be harassed. But if all the policemen get together and say, let's all of us be honest, if they transfer you, the new person coming will also be honest. So there itself, most of this trouble of injustice will stop. And last but not the least, people cannot take the law in their hand. They cannot kill other innocent human beings, even if they belong to the same community who has done injustice on you. If we take this and we see to it that injustice is stopped, then surely India will be a very good country. It is estimated that in the next, by 2020, India would be a superpower. If all the Hindus and Muslims, if we live together, if we love each other harmoniously, we may have our differences. The differences will be there. We live with our differences, but we love each other and we live peacefully and harmoniously. Again, India will be a superpower. And Mahatma Gandhi, he said that if India has to improve, it should be ruled by a dictator as honest and as upright as Hazrat Umar. May Allah be pleased with him. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of a nation, he advised the best thing India can do is have a dictator like Hazrat Umar. May Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. He was an honest person. When it came for justice, he did not see whether the Muslim or non-Muslim. For justice, he gave justice. Therefore, he got the title Al-Faruq. the person who differentiated truth from falsehood. I started my talk by quoting a verse of the Quran from Surah Isra, chapter number 17, verse number 81, which says, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَاقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. When truth is hurled against falsehood, falsehood perishes. For falsehood is by its nature bound to perish. I would like to end my talk by giving the quotation of Dr. Adam Pearson, who said that people who worry that one day nuclear weaponry will fall in the hands of the Arabs, they fail to realize that the Islamic bomb has already been dropped. It fell the day Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.